Hello everyone and welcome to the final stage of Season 3 of ZRL. Today we have a scratch race on the custom course Danger Noodle. This is a course that was voted on by the community, created by a community member. It's a event-only course right now, so this is the only way to see it. Fun little course, so we have a little out and back through the Esses, and then we will have an out and back through Titans Grove, which means we get to see the Titans Grove KoM reverse and forward climbs. So a nice 90 to 2 minute punchy effort on the outbound loop, and then a longer draggier 5-minute effort on the return. Some interesting power-ups throughout the course. A few more feathers than initially expected. Come to find out there's feathers being given at points that weren't typically or expected. But yeah, so very fun course. As I said, this is the final stage of the season, so everything up for grabs here. Today we have myself, Gert, Luke, Sean, Alan, and Kev for Infinity Scones. We're all looking to put in a good ride. We think this course definitely fits our strengths. Shorter, punchier climbs, nothing too long and draggy, and nothing too steep. Me personally, definitely looking to bounce back after what I would say was a poor race last week in ZRL. So definitely going to try and put in a lot of effort on this race. So yeah, let's get started with the race. So as we're coming back on the return leg from the Esses, we do have this short little punchy climb just after the sprint segment. Not really anything that I think is going to shell any riders or anything, but just a indication of what's to come. This course is very lumpy and bumpy. It's rolling up and down. Rollers are very interesting. They aren't really hard efforts, but they seem to be very good at knocking people off the back, especially if there's 3, 4, 5 in a row. People just, I don't know if it's lose focus or just kind of soft pedal over the top, and next thing you know, you've washing machined yourself out the back of the group and you're struggling to catch the wheels, especially if you're at your limit. But yeah, nothing too special by this point in the race. The start is definitely mellow. The intensity will ratchet up as we approach Titans Grove, I am sure of it. So here we're entering Titans Grove. It's been a pretty chill race so far. I mean, I'm averaging 252 watts at this point, which isn't to be scoffed at, but I feel that it could have been much worse by this point if people had really wanted to make it so. So I'm not too unhappy with this. I feel that I'm gonna have enough energy and I'm not suffering on heart rate or breathing as we are coming into these rollers. So I feel that I should be in a pretty good space when we hit the KoM. So as we come around this bend, we hit the Titans Grove KoM reverse. As I mentioned earlier, this is a pretty short climb, about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. As you can see on the left, my PB for this is about a minute 50. I'm fully expecting that we are going to be going up this quite a bit quicker than that. My goal here is just to try and stay in the wheels, maximize that draft. As you can see, again, 60 watts right now, so the pace is pretty high. Utilize that to my advantage and definitely stay with the front group over the top, where we will get an anvil, which is going to be very nice to help get some recovery on the descent. That said, everyone's going to get an anvil, so everyone's going to kind of get that same recovery as well as that speed boost. So it's going to be very tactical on when and how to use it. You can see here a lot of people are using the feathers quite early on the climb. My thinking was actually the opposite, to save the feather for the top of the climb when I'm starting to feel the legs get a little bit heavier from the effort, and use that to try and keep up with the lead group. You can also see there's a little bit of a gap starting to open up here. Not really too thrilled with that. You can see that I've just popped the feather, and I'm going to put in a dig here as well to follow this wheel of Baker in front to try and get to this front group as well. I do not want to be caught out coming over the top of this. I do not want to have to burn additional energy chasing back onto the lead group, heading down, because I know there's not really much respite before we are coming back up into Titans. So really happy with how this climb went. You'll see I do put a pretty good time in. It's a 1:39, so I knock about 10 seconds off my personal best. So really happy with that. But there are a few groups, or a few gaps opening up here, so there's going to be a few digs to come to try and close this up. Here we're about to start losing some wheels. Really not gonna let that happen. You can see I put in a surge, and I call out to Gert and Luke that, you know, we're gonna put in a dig. We are not gonna lose these wheels. We are staying with this front group come you know, hell or high water. I will be staying with this group, so get on. Fortunately managed to get into the draft, get the benefit, and get the tow over to this front group. So that I can recover. Do see here, the rider in front does ease up just a brief bit, a little bit of a gap, but the draft is enough for us to get back in. So thankfully nothing lost here, and I do somehow manage to fly through this group unintentionally, and end up getting to the front and picking up a super tuck, which was quite interesting. this point, again, nothing too special, just a few rollers as we come out of Titans and head briefly down into the desert. But groups together, pace is mellowed out a little bit, which is nice, getting some nice recovery here. So right as we hit this roundabout, you'll see that the second group on the road, a few of the riders that were dropped or gapped over the top of Titans, will make it back on, and they will almost shoot through this group and ramp the pace back up a little bit as we come around and start heading back up into Titans. There is a longer, draggier climb right at the start, just as we come around this roundabout that we just came down. But nothing too stinging. Definitely a climb that's worth burning a little bit of energy to try and stay near the front just in case, because there are some rollers to come. So here we hit the Titans Grove KoM forward, much longer segment, 2.6 kilometers, but much lower average. At this point it's really no more than almost a false flat, but the pace does start to go up, but it's not too terrible. Again, goal with this is to try and stay with the front group over this climb. It's definitely going to be a harder effort to manage that, with it being a 5-minute effort. So I'm definitely going to be forced to dig deep to stay with this group, and you'll see that shortly when we get to the top of the climb. Fortunately, we do get a feather at 24 kilometers, which does help take a little bit of the bite out of the tail end of the climb. So we're coming towards the tail end of this climb. You can see that I've popped my feather to try and stay with this front group. Do have Gut and Luke just ahead of me in this front group as well, but the pace is definitely high right now. As you can see also from the bar at the bottom of the screen, it's been high for quite a little while. So I'm just trying to stay with the wheels as best I can, try to watch these gaps ahead to make sure nothing too big's opening up on this final little drag over the top. So we have hit the banner, we're through, we're now under the descent, but as you can see, a gap has opened up between myself and the lead group. Not what I wanted to see, but it is the reality of the top of many of these climbs, that gaps do open up for whatever reason. So I put in a little bit of a stab, get some momentum, having used my anvil. So I'm now in the second group in the road. We do have Gut and Luke up the road as well, though it looks like they're starting to suffer a little bit on those wheels. So I'm taking a little bit of recovery here, while we're on this steeper descent with this group to sit in, get a few breaths back, try and bring the heart rate down just that little bit before trying to bridge across to this next group on the road. You can see here, the guy at the front of the group, Baker's put in a big effort as well himself. So he's definitely going to work to try and get over as well. We will have people also willing to work, which is fantastic. Makes it a lot easier when it's not just one of us. So we have this longer punch that's coming up shortly. That is where I've decided that I want to try and really put in the effort, bury myself to try and get up and over and into this lead group. Luke and Gert, unfortunately, are both at this point a little bit adrift. I do try to call out to Luke that we're coming with some speed, if he can get some momentum himself to jump on the wheels here. It would be to his advantage. I don't think he's able to do it. He is pretty gassed, which is unfortunate. Would have loved to have Luke in the front group for the finish. So still driving hard here, trying to get to that front group. We're nearly there, but not quite there. Do have some wheels to follow, a little bit of a descent here, but the gap is starting to open up again. So I'm gonna have to really put in a couple big efforts to close this up and get back into this front group. We have made contact with the front group on the road. We are in the wheels, we are getting the draft, so mission accomplished. It was a lot of work. Legs at this point are nearly shattered. If I hadn't been able to get on when I did, I do not think I was going to get on. So fortunately, I will get a few minutes here to get some rest and recovery before the final sprint. As we make the turn out of the Titans Grove and start heading back towards downtown Watopia, a few people start to surge and really line out this group. I'd have hoped for a little more recovery, maybe a little chiller way into the finish, but it is what it is. We'll just see what we can do to stay in the group and hopefully keep as much in the legs as possible for the final sprint. As we hit the final 400 meters, this is where a lot of people start to open up. My legs are still really heavy, so I'm not really confident in the long sprint, so I wait just a little bit longer before I kick. But, you know, I'm going to give it everything I have left to try and get as good a finishing position as possible. And then right here at the finishing line, I managed to snag, I think, 2 people, for a 10th place finish. Really, really happy with that result. Really good race for me, much better than last week. So yeah, good race. Really enjoyed it. And for those of you that have made it this far in the video, thank you very much for watching and staying with me through this video. And I look forward to the next time that we get to race together as a team.